Welcome back. My name is Theresa and I'm very much alive. And if you're new here, welcome. I have an awful, garbage, filthy mouth where sometimes, just sometimes, I tend to use the word fuck as a comma.
I know.
If you're not into that or weird stuff in general, this is not the place for you. Feel free to exit the video here. No harm, no foul. But I'll remember a time fondly. If you want to jump straight to the overall review of the Jacqueline Hill Volume 2 palette, if you want to do that, I'll leave a time code down below. Feel free to jump ahead. Y'all, before I get into my story time, I do want to let you know that I am a wounded bird. I don't know what exactly happened, but I have like nerve damage mixed with some tendonitis. I don't know, something weird. Probably all those fun hand movements I make. That's probably what caused it. In any case, I kind of have to wear this brace that's like from here up. You know what's funny? It makes things very difficult because you don't realize how much you need this hand when doing makeup. Luckily, it's not my dominant hand, but like, you know, when holding a mirror per se or a palette, my hand, it aches, it gets restless, it hurts, and whatever. Anyway, I don't know how long I'm going to have this on, but I think in the future, like when it comes to swatching, I'm not going to be able to do a lot of it, only because it just makes things very difficult, especially when swatching on this arm. Sometimes extending my fingers hurt. I know, it's really stupid. So with that said, being that there are 35 colors in this palette, I didn't do any swatching. So I'm sorry. Now, I want to let you guys know that this week is Problematic Week! Yay! Today we're going to be doing a Jacqueline Hill video. Friday we're going to be doing a Jeffree Star video. I know you guys feel very strongly about those two. Personally, I don't give a shit about either one of them. I'm just here to talk about makeup, but I know you guys don't support them, don't like them, whatever. So that's cool. That's totally fine. Feel free not to watch either one of these videos. If you want to watch the story time, awesome. If not, I will see you next week. It's all good, but I just want to give you the heads up now. And yeah, I'm going to coin the term Problematic Week because it sounds way better than President's Week. In any case, a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that I had a very weird story to talk about my one coworker, John. Now, if you are not familiar with John is just a strange duck. He is, how do I put this so delicately? He came up to me one day and asked me what my thoughts were going to be about him getting surgery to correct his micro penis. Okay. And then there was another time where he just, you know, decided to openly break up with his girlfriend in front of me. He's just a very strange duck. He's just I don't know. There's, I don't know. I feel like the lights are on, but nobody's home. In any case, a couple of weeks ago, we had a conference room meeting, and John was one of the people that was actually going to be presenting during the meeting. The meeting itself was really, really boring. It's one of those meetings where you kind of have to like pinch yourself like really hard to stay awake. Please tell me I'm not the only one that does this. So unfortunately, it was one of those meetings where I was almost falling asleep on the table. There was something that happened during the course of the meeting that kind of like, I don't know, struck me weird. John was sitting across from me and I noticed that he would just take his hands and he would just like put them both, I guess, on his lap. Now I can't see his lap because the table's covering it, but then occasionally like he would come up and just do this. And then it looked like he was like eating something. And I noticed he was eating something because when he would take his hand away from his mouth, he was chewing very quietly, which thank God because I have misophonia. And if he would have chewed with his mouth open, I think I would have went insane. So now this is the only thing that's really kind of piquing my interest in this meeting, right? I want to see what the hell he's eating because it's really hard to tell, but it's definitely something really, really small. I'm literally just staring dead at him, but he is not staring at me. Finally, I guess he realized that I was looking at him like a creep and it took him off guard and he happened to like just drop what he was about to put in his mouth. Now, what he was about to put in his mouth, it happened to be M&Ms. So the M&Ms fall on the conference room table and kind of roll to the middle of the table. And I was like, oh, that's what he's eating. Okay, whatever. Anyway, now that I know what he's eating, I could give two shits and I'm like looking at everything else and nobody said anything in the meeting. Even though this candy, when it fell on the conference room table, it was so loud, it actually made some people jump. Nobody cared, because whatever, it's candy, who cares? So now it's John's time to present. And when John gets up, he walks over to this whiteboard, and I only see the back of him. He then starts to turn around. I swear to God, the first thing I notice is that what John's wearing pretty much is like a white shirt, a blue tie, and khaki pants. Now, unfortunately, the first thing I notice is this weird thing near his crotch. How do I put this delicately? It looked like his dick took a shit on his pants. You know what I mean? It looked like his dick shit on his pants. Like, John's pants, John's crotchal region, here's this weird, mysterious brown stain right here where his meat and potatoes are. And I can't help but stare at it. Practically like in very light colors, and then you just see this dark, dark stain near his crotch. I'm only human, people, okay? I can't help but stare at it. So I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm just like this. Because I'm trying to figure out what exactly is on his pants. Because it kind of looks dry. It doesn't look wet, but there also looks like there are things hanging off of it. So it's not just like a stain, but there looks like there happened to be like crumpled pieces next to it. It was hard to explain. It looked like there was texture. Probably the best way to put it. I guess I must have caught his attention. And mind you, none of my coworkers are even making eye contact with me because I look like I'm crazy in the meeting. I'm like this. Nobody's looking at him because everyone has the decency to look at his face, unlike me. I guess John realized that I was just like staring, you know, at that area. He looked down and went, huh. And he took off a piece of whatever texture was on his pants and popped it in his mouth. I'm gonna repeat that because I feel like it bears repeating. He looked down, took a piece of texture off his pants, popped it into his motherfucking mouth. And now I audibly gasp. I go, because who fucking does that? And now it starts to click to me. Oh my God, I think that's where the M&Ms were. John continued his presentation. I unfortunately had no idea what the fuck he was saying because all I kept staring at him was occasionally reaching down by his crotch area, taking a piece of candy off his pants, and then popping it into his mouth in front of a crowded room of people. Anyway, the meeting ends. Nobody utters a fucking word about it. Nobody says anything about it, which I thought was really fucking strange. I guess nobody wanted to make it a big deal. In any case, the rest of the day was spent with him walking around to my coworkers asking if they had a stain stick so he can remove the chocolate stain near his crotch. Anyway, that's what happened that day. I got nothing. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the new Jacqueline Hill palette 2 from Morphe. And before I give you my overall thoughts and all that good shit, I will say that in a makeup bingo, I was like, I'm not going to purchase this. You know what? Sometimes I say one thing and then I do the other because I'm a fucking Libra and I don't care. I'll be honest, I hurt my hand.
And I really just don't want you guys coming hard for me in the comments, okay? Because like, I'm just like really sensitive right now.
No, I'm kidding. Listen, I say a lot of things, you guys know that, and I think that's kind of the joke here, is that I'll say one thing and then I purchase it anyway, because at the end of the day, I want to know if it's good or not. Regardless of the person's problems or whatever, I personally don't give a fuck about these people, and when I say these people, I mean these makeup brands, these influencers, whatever. I don't fucking care about them. I just want to know if something's good or not. Honestly, that's really what it boils down to. At first, I wasn't going to purchase this, and then I happened to be in the mall, and I passed by the Morphe store, and I was like, you know what? Let me see if it was in stock. And to my surprise, this palette was fully in stock. When I saw it and I swatched it in the store, I was like, kind of want to try it because I had a very suspicious feeling that this palette was going to be great. I wound up purchasing this palette. I came home, I ripped open the bag, I played with it, and I was like, fuck. All right. Now, my history with Jacqueline Hill, very briefly, especially when it comes to Morphe, not talking about her brand or anything like that. I love the first Jacqueline Hill palette. I think this is one of my favorite palettes I've ever owned. This is just like a very good basic neutral palette. I still use this. I still fuck with it. I love it. I was so hopeful that when the Vault collection came out, that it was gonna be the same quality. And unfortunately, it wasn't. It was very, very different. And that bummed me the fuck out because I spent a lot of money for a product that was subpar, in my opinion. So when this palette was leaked or whatever, I was kind of like, oh, here we fucking go again. But like I mentioned before, curiosity got the best of me. And when I actually saw it in person, my makeup dick got pretty hard. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking buy this, and I regret nothing. Normally in my videos, what I would do is swatch it, but unfortunately, since I have this fucking thing, I possibly have nerve damage, so this is my swatching arm. So I apologize that I wasn't able to really swatch this palette, but honestly, 35 fucking shades on my arm right now just sounds really painful, and it's kind of really hard to do it on this side, so that's why there's no swatches. But if you do want to see some swatches, there are plenty of other videos out there that are showing it. Now, with that said, let me tell you a little bit about this palette. So this guy retails for about $39, which is comparable to the original Jacqueline Hill palette. It comes in the sterile white packaging, again, very similar to the original Jacqueline Hill palette, except the original palette kind of bears her signature. And while the font of this looks a little bit different, it kind of mirrors more of her actual brand's packaging, which I thought was kind of interesting. Now, when you open her up, it has this little message that says,
to all my loving subscribers who've supported me all of these years. This one's for you.
Thank you for supporting me financially.
Just kidding, it didn't say that. But anyways, it's XO Jacqueline Hill, same signature as it is on the original palette. And the biggest difference I would say from this to the original is that you have the shade names here, so it's not on the back of the palette, which is a nice touch. Of course, I would love a mirror, but you know, I get it to kind of keep costs down, whatever. See, honestly, I think the nerve damage is because I jerk my hand off too much. So I have to do it on this side until I get an arm cuff on this hand. Then my husband's gonna have to start fucking swatching everything. In any case, what you get here is 35 shades. And the first thing that I thought of when I saw this palette is that it kind of reminded me a lot of the Vault. In particular, the purple palette and the orange palette, as well as that one weird neutral palette that kind of had some reds and some oranges in it. Now, I didn't get to play with every shade, obviously. So in this video, I'm gonna be showing you 3 different looks that I created with this. And I wanted to really focus on more of the colorful aspect because I feel like with the original Jacqueline Hill palette, it's definitely heavy on the neutrals. I really wanted to play more with the pops of color in this one. When I compare this, say, to the Vault collection, this is leaps and bounds better. This is so much fucking better. The Vault collection is a piece of shit and should be burnt to hell. This is very consistent to the first palette, which I had a sinking suspicion that it would be, and I was fucking right. You know why? Because
I'm motherfucking psychic bitch.
this was a really good palette to play with. So in this palette, you have 3 different finishes. You have a matte, a satin, and a shimmer. And I will say with the shimmers, I actually used it with my finger and a dry brush because I have been noticing, and a lot of people have been leaving in the comments as well, is that when I sometimes get eye irritation, it could be linked to the actual setting spray that I'm using. So I've been kind of playing around with the fact of just using my fingers so to try to avoid any sort of eye irritation. So for all my looks, I really focus on these first 3 rows and some of the more neutral shades in the other half of the palette. So let's talk about the mattes first. There is a little bit of kick up in the pan. I did experience some fallout with some of the purple shades. The kick up is nowhere near ABH standards. So if you do give a fuck about that, just know that. First and foremost, this yellow over here.
Fuck me sideways, bitch.
This is a good fucking yellow. And I was so fucking surprised. I remember the first time I actually put it on in my crease, and the fact that it was so bright and I only dipped into it one time, I literally lost my shit. I was like,
Are you fucking kidding me, bitch?
because it was so fucking good. This yellow was so satisfying, considering I loved the yellow and orange color story that was in the Vault. It didn't do anything for me. It was terrible. So this yellow had so much goddamn satisfaction. The mattes in this palette are highly, highly pigmented, and I found that they were very easy to use. They were very easy to blend out. You didn't even need to really build them up. And I just love how they work so well together. I had a lot of fun playing with this eyeshadow because everything just blended and worked together so easily. The only thing I will note is that this one purple shade over here, Therapy Sesh, just fucking say session, god damn it.
Therapy Sash.
I noticed that this one is more of like a shade that you kind of just like pack on and you don't really do too much blending. You notice that the product is kind of missing. So this is the only shade that I found that I just needed to pack on and leave it alone, kind of like Subculture style, except far more easier to fucking use. So that was my only issue with the matte shades. I used a couple of different bases when playing with this palette. I used the Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas base. I used the NARS Soft Matte Concealer base, as well as the MAC Paint Pot. I felt like every base had the same level of saturation. Also, I noticed too that the color did not fade throughout the day. Yesterday, which I'll post a picture, my kind of like my little teaser thing that I did yesterday, being like, oops, I built the bill. I had that look on for more than 12 hours and it was so goddamn vibrant at the end of the day. I didn't lose any sort of quality. There was no balding, no patchiness. It looks so goddamn good. So for the satin shades in this palette, I'm looking at the description. It looks like there are only 2 satin shades. The one shade that I didn't use is Good Place. This feels so nice though. And it looks vibrant as all hell. But the one shade that I was absolutely impressed with and fell like head over heels with is the shade I'm In It, which is so fucking beautiful. It's actually what I have on my inner corner today. So this is the shade I'm In It. This is the other satin shade called A Good Place. I'm gonna try to do a little swatch right here. Has like this really pretty like pink duochrome that I know it's like not picking up very well. And then we're gonna try this one on my knuckles. Not really the best place, but as you can see, I am a wounded bird. Oh my God, that fucking feels really nice. It's like a nice plum shade. Damn, bitch, I should have fucking played with this one. In the inner corner, I have the shade I'm In It. I applied it with a finger and a small detailed brush, and I have to say the finger application was obviously better than the brush. And I do have it on the inner corner, again, dry. It actually reminds me a lot of the Kaleidos highlighter shade, just color-wise, not texture-wise or anything like that, but definitely color-wise. It's so goddamn pretty. And that's the shade that I was actually pleasantly surprised with. I didn't realize how pretty it was gonna be, and it's so fucking stunning. And while it does make for a really beautiful inner corner highlight, I think it kind of steals the show when it's on the lid, and it's just so fucking pretty. I want more shades like that. I need more shades like that because it's just so goddamn gorgeous. And as for the shimmer shades in this palette, they work just fine. Again, I used everything with my finger or a small detail brush, and when dry, it works okay, but I think it looks better when I use my finger. The color story of this palette is really beautiful. I feel like it's not only appropriate for spring and summer, but it's also really good for the fall, especially with the pumpkin spice vibes over here. This is a really beautiful fucking palette, and I think it pairs very nicely with the original palette. The quality of this palette, I would say, is very on par or similar or the same or whatever as the original palette. I don't see any differences at all. I had a lot of fun playing with this, and I actually can't wait to make more looks with it. What I love about this palette more than anything is that it's so easy and fast to use. I'm not having to sit there layering on colors and making it vibrant. These little fuckers are very vibrant, so a little bit goes a long way, and it lasts for such a long time. I had a lot of fun playing with this palette, more so than I thought I ever would. And with that said, I don't want to say that I recommend this because I know a lot of people feel very strongly about Jaclyn, whether you like her, you hate her. Personally, like I mentioned, I don't give a fuck, I don't care. If you were interested in purchasing it and you wanted to know if the quality was very similar to the original, it is. There is nothing weird or sketchy like the vault about it. And with that, I love it. And with that said, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know down below how you feel about this palette, if you're going to be picking it up, if you're going to be skipping out. And of course, be kind and respectful in the comments, not only about this fucking person, but to each other as well. I guess that's about it. Thank you for joining me on part 1 of Problematic Week. Friday will be the Jeffree Star palette, so if you don't give a shit about either one of these palettes, I'll see you the following week. I want to say thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it as always. Feel free to like, comment, hit that subscribe button, it's free, and hit that bell icon for notification of all my future posts. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Patreon, Discord. Every other Thursday we have a podcast called The Miserable 3, and sometimes I'm on my husband's Twitch channel, which I'm actually going to be doing some streaming of Sims very shortly, so I'm super excited. I'm just waiting for this one cable to come in, and then we'll be playing The Sims, and I'm gonna make people and ruin their lives, and I'm so excited about that. If any of that stuff interests you, along with what is currently on my face and more information about this palette, everything will be listed in the description box below. And I'll see you little pumpkins later. Bye.